To do so is you have to attend 70% in order to pass this class. So if you don't, this is a hard requirement. If you don't have 70%, then you'll be an issue there. Okay. So the textbook we used is this one. You may want to have it or you don't, doesn't really matter. But I think the slide is already sufficient. Just the course assessment. So kind of standard, we have exam 40%. So it's open book, open notes, but not open laptop. For obvious reason, because AirDrop and the Bluetooth, I mean, I can't control. I mean, there's some cheating behavior happening. I'm not saying you're cheating, but if there's some one cases, then we have to do the exam again. So for the purpose, it's open exam. You can bring whatever you like. There'll be assignment. I think will be 2 assignment. The last one is optional. So basically, optional means I'll give some time you do it. I'll give the result. Okay. Basically, the assignment is the Python programming. So we'll be, because in the class we talk about how to do Python, and then also we will ask you to work out some Python exercise as well. So it'll be 2 Pythons. And the next one will be, I think the most important for this class as well is the projects. You will form a group of 4 to 6 person, and of course you can, if you are brave, you can do individual. Okay, because the page limit is proportional to the number of members. So I think I'm expecting each one you submit 1 A4 paper. So if 1 person 2 page, 2 person 4 pages, it's upper limit. Okay, so you don't have to fill up everything. So if a form of 4 person group, then will be 8 pages. Okay, and then you will be presenting as well. So I'll give you more detail, but that would be the case. Continuous assessment will be, I think you have time, we'll do some in-class quiz, multiple choices. As long as you do, I think as long as you answer half of them correct, you get full credit. If you don't get half, then you get half the credit. Okay, if you don't do anything, there's 0 credit, of course. But should be fine. So the assignment, as I said, will be, I think we'll give you 2 assignments, and then the last one is optional. Okay. Oh, already there's someone coming in the Zoom. Oh, it's surprising. Because I'm not expecting anyone, but it's okay. So for the project, as I said, will be 30%. 10% will be my evaluation. 10% will be your presentation, and 10% will be your peer evaluate. So I'll give you more detail later. So you submit your final thing by November. Okay. And this is CA. I don't want to go into detail. So just make sure that there's some AI policy there. I think this year is new, and then we have to decide what kind of AI you can do. Of course, I can't check whether your AI, right? Even though AI tools is very good, but it's very obvious if you use AI, don't add it, then I would know it's AI, right? I mean, don't make it so obvious that I have to take action. I mean, everyone's AI for sure, right? I use AI as well, but don't make it so obvious that I have to do something. Okay, but I don't see that's a big problem unless you just copy and paste, right? And that's pretty much of that. But I guess I give a little bit overview what we're doing in this class, because I think because of recent development, I think our class is different from classical statistics, where I know many of you taken statistics for many years ago, or at least 3 to 4 years ago, and actually it's very different right now from that period of time. So today we are going to cover some basic of statistics, and especially talk about data and how to handle data. Okay, and that would be something I think everyone would know how to do it. But in case of Python, it's not very good, then we will take a look at those. Okay, we'll just go back to that one. And then next week, we will talk about how to explore the data and just review some of the basic statistics ideas, look at summary statistics, correlation analysis. And the key is look at Python again, because we really want to use Python to handle the thing because it will be used in machine learning class as well. So that would be the goal, right? And then week 3 will be the idea of using data to make analysis, right? Because 2 is what we call descriptive statistics. It's trying to, you get a data, you try to get what is in the data. So there's nothing new created from data. Okay, you just clean up, you get the use of it, extract information from that. That's 2. 3 is different, is we try to generate new knowledge. From the data, right, we try to see, can we tell something more than the data? What are we saying? Is because of we often unable to study everything we want to study. We're unable to get all the data we want to get. What I'm saying, suppose I'm Hong Kong government or Chinese government, whatever you think, you have all the data of all people, right? The tax inland revenue department can calculate average income of Hong Kong, say, right? But if you are a firm, right, you want to know what is the average income of your customer, it's very hard because you may not be able to get for everyone, right? So maybe you have 10,000 of people, right? You can't ask every single of them, right? But probably you get 10,000 of them for check, right? But based on this, a small snapshot of the data, you want to take your conclusion from this data to the big thing you want to analysis, right? But you can't do it, but you can only rely on something small. So to generate from this, the conclusion from the small to the big, require you to talk about estimation, testing, because the thing you get from the data to generalize to what you want to study, but you can't study those, is called estimation, right? Hypothesizing is even worse. You have some idea on what's going on in the population, what you want to study. You want to see the data with the support that, right? Suppose you want to say, for example, in the application, you want to say how much people want to pay for a new iPhone, for example, right? Maybe $10,000 or whatever, right? Then you try to randomly ask for 10,000 people, and then you get the number there, right? You want to see whether this number supporting what you think of. That's hypothesis testing, okay? And the next 2 topic is for regression. And probably you would know, right? Regression is the most single-use tools in statistics analysis, right? It's just basically trying to build up a relation between bunch of variables to the y, right? How x related to y, bunch of x related to y, right? So if you still recall statistics, that is the basic one. This is all the classical method before machine learning comes in, right? And because machine learning you have another class, so I don't want to overlap too much, but I need to talk a little bit. So I will have a number 6 talk about prediction of machine learning, which tells you some LISO and also some of the reason go in there. But for the details of machine learning, you go there. I think we'll talk about some regression tree. But for random forest or further more detail, you have to go to those class, but just give idea. So these are all very classical approach. 1 to 5, 6 is rather new. Okay. And from 7 to 10 is a not so new, but around 20 years old on statistics about causal analysis. Okay, what's that? When we talk about regression or machine learning, it's simply correlation or prediction exercise. It doesn't understand the structure of why this happened. It just say X and Y happen together, right? But you remember how LLM, right, large language model, probably in other class as well, right? It's just like a bunch of text based on what before predict the next word, right? That's what the LLM in general is, right? And how to do it is a bunch of regression, but many layer of regression. But it doesn't tell you that the system doesn't tell you that actually X cause Y. That's no knowledge, right? So actually AI doesn't understand, right? It's just basically a bunch of parameter there, right? But they don't understand actually what caused what, right? Because remember, it's pattern matching. But causal inference is trying to understand not the correlation structure, understand whether actually X caused Y, right? To understand the logic behind how it comes about. So for the rest of this, we're trying to tell you there are ways to see when the regression will tell us causality. So imagine this very simple case is in experiment, if you control X directly, then the correlation between X and Y is causal. Right? That's what the science do, right? If you can control X. But the problem is if you can't control X, which always happen, right? You can't control every single thing. Even maybe you can do it in the lab, control every single X. But even in when we talk about experiment in IT, right? So we talk about the platforms, right? Meituan or Tmall or whatever, right? They change things. They do the A/B test, right? They do things, change that. But they can't control every single thing, right? Who is in the subject pool is not fully random, right? So so there's some issue there. So we need to use a classical model to understand what kind of thing can be done. Okay, maybe particular I want to mention the topic 10 difference. Right, there's a way that people try to understand evaluate some A/B tests, for example. Right, for example, we're talking about say McDonald's or whatever shop, they want to introduce some new marketing campaign, right? And if they implement it in the whole Hong Kong, right? Suppose they introduce a whatever mirror, they try to have a mirror sign on this whatever thing, say McDonald's, right? Suppose they hire a mirror to put a signature on his drinks, right? And then people want to buy it, right? Whatever. But if this policy implement throughout Hong Kong, okay, then you really can't see it because you don't know whether the sales increase is because of some background noise. Maybe people are happier, right? Maybe people are sad. Maybe there's some other thing changing in the background, you don't know. So in order to do this kind of analysis, usually you have to, one way to do is geographical segregation. So suppose you want to impose in Hong Kong, suppose you want to impose Hong Kong Island, but not in Kowloon Peninsula or new territories. By comparing the difference, suppose the shops are very similar, Kowloon and Hong Kong, then you can look at before and after between Hong Kong and Kowloon, then you can do something. So that's why a lot of time you do between cities, right? And this is how things being done is called difference. And also there are more things to study. And there's some recent new development. Of course, here is we do things using our human decision. And probably you ask, is there machine learning component to that as well? Yes, but that's very, very new. They call the causal machine learning. It's a super new thing. But this is introductory class, so I'm not going to go there. But at least we're telling you that if you make some assumption, we're able to discover causality. Because at the end of the day, you are businessman, businesswoman, or work in the business decision. So just showing correlation is not sufficient. I mean, a lot of people do machine learning, turn out to be a lot of things doesn't work very well because they don't do causality. So these days, I think increasingly people are aware of that. So they will build some, even say random forest, they will have a causal random forest. So the causality is there. So, but I guess I will left that to more advanced class to cover. But at least to give you an idea, we review basic statistics, touch some machine learning, and touch some causality and representation exam. So that will be the structure of this class. Is there any question before I proceed? Okay, that's good. So I guess same as all the other class, I think it's good to have some ice breaking through this uReply software because we will be eliciting how well you're doing in the every single break so that I know whether I'm going too fast or I go too slow. Because I have many people here, so I can't talk to every single one. So it's good to let me know how well you're doing, how ready you're thinking you are. Is it okay? Yes. So let's have 5 minutes and we can talk. Yeah, good. At least everyone has done some dinner before they come. I hope. I think it's anomalous, right? I think this one is anomalous. So don't worry about it. Is it? Oh, this name is just for you. I asked the name because you guys want to have the group project, so you want to introduce yourself somehow. You can use the fake name, doesn't really matter. I don't. You don't have to tell the full name. You just can tell your nickname. Or you don't have to tell the name, but just try to introduce yourself because you may want to form groups. That's helping you. Or you can skip that question. Oh, so guess I wait 2 more minutes. because 68%. So I try to see if I can get everyone there. So I guess we can't wait forever. We have to cut. Sorry, if you haven't finished, then we have to discuss anyway. So quite surprisingly, most of you are excited for this class, which I would expect B is more common than because it's Thursday, right? So especially hoping Friday for tomorrow. So there's some Friday effect over there, and nobody feels sad, but some people are angry. But I don't know why. But is there some reason why you're angry? But let's be peaceful, okay? Don't be violent. We can talk, okay? So let me get bigger. Oh. So Peggy said want to form group with me. Okay. Then we have Jane know to analyze data. Okay. So hopefully help you to do that. Okay, good. Oh, we have found someone is tired. That's good. So you have learned some machine learning before, then hopefully this class will still be useful to refresh something new, especially the causal analysis is something new, I guess, to many of you, because usually causal analysis is a PhD level course. But I think now the master level should also study as well. So we have some software engineering. Oh, school started again. It's good to be in school. I mean, I don't know because I always been in school, so I don't know what's going on outside. So I'm very happy to be in school anyway. Yes. So yes, it's important. Try to focus. Actually, I also taught 5 hours in today. So same as you do. So this is I taught 8 hours today. So would be same as you do. So I'm waiting. So I guess your name is waiting, right? Capital letter. Okay. Good. It's waiting. So good. I mean, people. We have engineer. A lot of people. Oh, I hope you are not coming from the airport. Is it? I don't know. Is airport authority? Is it going to be airport or just in the downtown? Stack kid. Good. Okay, that's good. Oh, I'm hungry. So hope you get something to eat. I mean, I think as I told you, I mean, last year people come with cup noodles. So if you're really hungry, then noodle may be okay, but I don't know. Yep, I think everyone is doing pretty well. Oh. So I have a sanity test whether you are doing the right thing, right? Because obviously 7 of you actually are not filling the form, right? So I put a ridiculous option here because it's a night class, right? How can you like the morning class when you pick this one? So obviously, this survey has something there. So most of you have to come. I'm sorry, but one way or the other, okay? And I don't know. Some people are adding the class by mistake. So if you want to go, you can just go. Shop around, that's fine. I think it's good. So let's see whether you understand statistics without using Wikipedia. Okay, I think that's right. Systematic way to analyze data. Okay, and analyze data is part of it, but you want to extend the knowledge from the data to make prediction or to decision. That is the main part. And to collect data, analyze data, yes. With the probability, yes, but there's very small part of that. Wow. From that, we can know the truth, we can know diversity. That's too grand. I mean, we never know the truth for sure. Statistics means probability, so we never know the truth. We only know the truth probabilistically, even we have infinite data. Statistics something that make gambler not gambling anymore. Yes and no. We know gambling is going to be an unfair bet, right? But as economists, I can tell you that we are not just betting on fairness. We're betting on upside, right? There's what we call skewness, which we will learn maybe next week, to measure a random variable, not just the mean and variance in the classical finance theory set. The modern finance theory will tell you that skewness and kurtosis is very important. By skewness is whether you say whether a lot of upside. And for gambling, there's a lot of upside. Why people buy lottery ticket. It's unfair. For sure you lose. But there's upside is huge. So it's still worthwhile to bet. But anyway, I shouldn't talk about too much economics, but that's my expertise. But anyway. So collect data, yeah, that's good. By collecting figure, you can figure out answer different variable. Yeah, it's quantifying things. Yeah, quantitative different factor, do data. Okay. Math analysis, right? That's true. Pattern in numbers. Okay, this is good. I mean, I think we have a traders here. So yeah, I think we have someone use AI. It's still perfect. So that is the reason why I said don't use AI, although this is not count, but try not to give too perfect answer, right? If too perfect, then it make me suspicious, right? Even because you're doing this response, then you give them some perfect answer. Maybe you are a genius, but I don't know. Yeah. Well, I think we have a poet here. Statistics, a biology of math, because it all make up. There's no hard logic, but it's useful somehow. Okay. But of course, statistics is just math, right? But you are trying to quantify uncertainty in probability, but there's something there, right? Because everyone now know AI have some use, right? So that's based on statistics, right? So I think it's pretty useful right now. I mean, there's a logic as well. As I said, right? When you do causal analysis, then there's logic behind. Okay. Well, boring data. I know nothing. Yes, I think that is also a very philosophical answer. Basically, we know nothing about that. Okay, that's good. So a lot of people disagree. You know some basic concepts, so it wonders why you are in the master program, because you take a GMAT or GLE or an undergraduate degree, right? So you must have some statistics. But anyway, I assume you forget, but it's okay. We start from nothing, so don't worry about that. I know everyone is very tired. I like math. Oh, at least I have one people like math, but most people hate. But don't worry, if you look at the slides, we don't have much math there. So more application. I think we have more program than math, I would say. But since many of you are very good at doing programming, so shouldn't be an issue. Yes, you see, at least most of people are like program. So at least half of them like program. So it's not that bad. Well, then you have do you have a summer Python remedy course? You do, right? So okay, just don't worry. I will start from scratch. So I assume nothing from the beginning. Okay. So don't worry about that. So basic operation or spreadsheet programs such as R or Python. Okay, no, that's okay. So also learn Python. That's okay. That's good. let me end the session. And so I guess now is before we start, any question you want to ask, any query you want to clear before we go ahead into the crazy class? Well, of course, I guess I should give a break, right? Because that would be an hour already. So to save time, let's have 10 minutes break rather than 15, but for this one. Maybe 15 because we have a lot of people, right? Because the washroom will be very congested somehow. So let's have 15 minutes break. We will resume at 7:40. I'll stay around here to answer any question you might have. Đại con mất. 我係香港香港嘅，主要我仔要升5年班啊嘛，要翻嚟升學。新加坡都關於升咗好多嘛，呢邊嗰個新加坡啊，基本上都係高文嘅，基本上係 academics。有想做，但係我哋嘅數係有上面有，你係係啊，我哋係公開嘅個俾佢話你公開㗎，我哋學長翻我哋學長翻700萬收啊。呢個公嘅總數嚟㗎。呢邊就係唔得啦，我哋人嘅係比較我哋嗰啲即係計個 rate 仲低差唔多，差唔多，係差唔多嘅。香港嗰啲你乜睇？你個打都係，即係你打佢啫嘛。我最少總幫我都帶人去。呢啲咩情況？國安法。你哋講。我入邊服務我係零開始，我係燒住個零開始，唔係，就係啲黃色嗰啲人可以俾啲小朋友食翻，有冇辦法俾佢食？零開始，我如果可以靠呢啲唔所謂，我哋都開晒所有課程，我大家係需要買我哋。嗰時考嗰啲嘢，得唔得喎？我講俾考嘅，你估下嚟㗎嘛？你估下嘅㗎嘛？係你嘅用家主導㗎嘛？我哋本身大部分嘅人都 So I hope you have a good break, and are not too hungry. So let's get started. Okay. So we start our class. So as I said, we cover 2 chapters in the book, but depending on how well you're receiving, we can speed up or speed down. Okay. If you want me to slower, I can get slower. And some ask me, what the exam? It depends on what I have covered. So if I cover less, then exam less. I cover more, exam more. Okay. So so that's why I keep asking you to tell me that how well you are understanding what I'm talking about. Okay, I think that's the most important part. So basically, the first one is very simple. We're just telling you how to collect data and access quality, and how to clean the data. Okay. So this is a self-review. I'm not saying that you should know that, but these are the things that probably we will be using. But we will be, as some of you tell me that you may not have the summer camp, right? Or some of you even taking the summer camp may not be able to remember everything. So as I said, I will start from scratch. So you expect you'll be learning all this from this class, okay? And will be a little bit more, but this is the overall. But don't worry, I just start from the scratch, okay? So for your convenience, all the code in this class that I will type out, because I type the code, will be already in there. So you can just check them out for this course, for this class. And the Python code for the whole course is already on the blackboard. If you try to see, it's already for 10 classes all there. Okay. So, but these days with AI and Python, it's always very easy to ask the AI to tell you what is going on there. Okay, shouldn't be a big difficult. But don't worry, our assignment is based on Python, so you will have the time to modify my code to apply to you in your assignment. Okay, so that will be the assignment thing is you'll be doing some modification of my code to try to apply there. Okay. So let's start with data. Okay, and probably why data is important. I will just use 2 quotes. One quote is, without data, you are just a person with an opinion, right? Because without data to support what you say, then you just basically opinion. Okay. And the other one I think is pretty much one interesting is by Sherlock Holmes, which said it's a wrong to theory before the data, right? Otherwise, you try to twist the fact to fit theory rather than theory to fit facts. So that is an interesting quote. I hope that you would agree, at least the first one. So let's talk about the data. Okay. So data is basically in the world we do, it's just a matrix, a collection of observation variables. Okay. So usually this is how data is organized. Is the column is what are the features of variable and X are observation. So that is standard way to collect data, and this is also the way Python store the data. So that's why the book introduced in this way. And to store data, usually you would see many types, but in our class, we usually focus on comma separated file, CSV file. So every column separated by comma, right? And every line give you an observation. Okay, so that would be the thing. So nothing new there. And there are classification depends on the data structure. If you observe many units at the same time, it's called cross-sectional. Same unit over time series. Panel is many units observed and over time, so continuously. And in IT data, very often you got the multi-dimensional panel data, right? Because you get the website, you could track the customer from the time they come in and the time they go out. You record how they click and at each point of time, what they do. So usually it's multi-dimensional in the IT data. Okay. And let's start with this one. Okay, I think this is a good idea to start with this one. This is a data from I think hotel.com or booking.com. I don't know, I forgot which one. So basically, we are trying to use data to solve a problem. So what the problem is, we want to go for a trip, we want to look for a good hotel deal, and we this question is go to Vienna. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to collect the data from a price comparison website, and that cover the weekday in November 2017, and N is 428. Then the variable involve price, stars, this kind of stuff. Okay, so let's look at data. So the data is available on this one. This actually comes from the textbook. So let's look at data. So open is a CSV file, but before we look at CSV file, but let's see what actually CSV file is. But you can open Excel, but you can look at Lookpack here and open it. It's a comma delimit. You can see we have each row with a column, say Austria, Vienna, and each column separated by a comma. But this is to see, so let's open it from Excel. When you open Excel, it's like this. Okay, you got a country, we got a city, you got the how many people rate this thing, and there's a price there. I think it's in euro, and then what the star, what the number of star in the hotel, and so on and so forth. Okay, this is data. Okay, we'll use this data very soon, but this is the data we're looking at. But data, as we said, column is features or variable, and rows are observations. Okay, so this is the standard data we are dealing with. Okay, now what we're going to do is to use Python to download this data and run it. Okay, and to do it, I will use a Google Code Lab to do it because it's a Python notebook that allow you to do it. So we will do it directly. So in order to access Code Lab, go to your web browser, Google Code Lab. Okay, that would be the way to do. And please do that because we'll do it on spot. Okay, iPad can also work as well. So you can work on that. We work together because this is the way I think we work for this class is work through the code and work through the theory at the same time. Okay, so please go in and go to Open Code Lab and do I do? Okay, once you open this, I'm not sure. I don't know whether some of you do this one or not. Do some of they do this one? Okay, let's do the Code Lab. Okay, when here you sign in. Okay, you sign in your Google account. I hope you have Google account already, but let me sign my Google account. So because I log in this one, then I have to confirm, but so now I hope you can log in your system. Okay. So once you do that, so I open a new one. Okay. So suppose you should be seeing this. So suppose you're seeing this in your browser. If you don't, then ask me. I go around to make sure that you're there. Just go to start one and should be seeing the thing. I go around to check if any question. Because it's a very hand-on class, I want to check. Of course, if you don't have, your friend has, it's also fine. Okay, just share with your friend. I hope you do. So before we start, let's have some fun. Go to Tools and Settings. Tools and Setting. Miscellaneous. You can get the dog and the cat and the crab if you kick them out. Okay, so once you're done, then we're going to start. Okay, we're going to start. Are you ready? Does everyone get all the crabs and all the cats and all the dogs are running around? If you do, then you are all right. We are going to ready to do the Python code. Okay. So I'm sorry, a little bit elementary for those IT expert, but we start from scratch. Okay. Is that okay? If okay, then now what we do is do copy and paste exercise. Okay. Or you can type. So the first line is called import Panda SPD. What we're doing, Panda is a library, is a tools that would enable you to use a lot of statistic function, handle the data. So and SPD means it's a shortcut. PD will be means Panda. So give a nickname. So import a library and give him the nickname, right? The same as our classmate called I'm waiting, right? Waiting is the nickname there, right? So I'm sorry if this is your real name, but I just assume this as a nickname. So what we're going to do is here, let me type import pandas SPD, okay? So you can just run it. If you run it without any problem, then it should be fine. You keep running, okay? And it's take, then it's run. So nothing will happen because this is put the library in the system that you can just start to do things, okay? So the first line there. Of course, you don't have to type. You can just copy and paste, okay? I just type because I just type, okay? So the next one is, what I do is this Python code is URL equal to this. If you remember, this is the URL link for the CSV file, which we just click it, okay? If you have any, your location is elsewhere, you can just click elsewhere. So here, what we do is this line means that I have this quotation mark, means this text is put in URL. Okay, nothing to do, is assign a variable, so store there. So I just call a URL, represent this guy. Another nickname, right? URL means this. Okay. And then why I do that? Because simplify my code, I will use Panda, the library. I would call a particular function called read CSV. What it's doing is just try to convert the CSV file into the system. Okay. And I read it from where? From the URL, which is here. Okay. So you can do this to make sure your code is simplified. Otherwise, if you don't like this line, you can put everything here, the same thing. Is that clear what we're doing? Because you guys are expert in programming. So anyway, just forgive me, just I do something very elementary. So you just simplify doing the variable thing to simplify the code. Okay. If you don't like, you can just put everything down there. Okay. So now I just being lazy, I copy and paste. Sorry for not typing out. So I just do that. Okay. So what you will do is you will try to run that. Now the DF would be stored the data there. Okay. To confirm that the data is here, there are two ways. One is to not this one. No, not this one. No, not this one. Oh, it's here. They change here. In the bottom, there's a variable there. We save the URL, so URL represent the string variable is connecting this chart. And the thing we download data and convert to the DF, the data frame, is stored data frame. Data frame is the Python basic data set structure. So for all or our purpose in this class, so our data always stored in data frame. Okay, of course, Python is very universal software, so it's a many data type. So data frame is the one we use, okay? And it tells you have 24 columns, 428 rows. And of course, this is a little bit technical, right? So the one way usually you would do when you have data is to look at the first few columns of the data, right? So that's what you try to do, first few rows. So you do is df. So what you do is here, df.head, okay? So in Python, when the doc goes in, means that you try to do some action or property of that object, because Python is object-oriented language, right? Doc means that you, based on this, you do something, you make a method on that. And head will be just asking the first few rows. So if you don't want anything, you give you 5 rows. So df.head. If you don't want anything, it's 5, okay? But just do it. So what we are doing here, you can see, is it will give you 5 rows and tell you what data is. Okay, so here we finish the first job is to get your data inside the system. I can check around, but this is what we do. Okay, I go around to see if you have a question. It's okay if you know you are watching YouTube or watching TikTok, it's fine, perfectly okay. If you know, I mean, you know what you're doing, but I just go around to see if you have a question that can help you, or you're trading in the US stock market, that's okay. I don't want to interrupt because you may have making $1 million. So don't worry about me looking around. I'm not going to check working or not, but in case you are trouble, please let me know. I'll try to help. Is everyone okay with that? I'm sorry if this is too easy, but just make sure everyone on the same page. Okay, is that okay? Is that okay? I think it's okay. So if your iPad, you can still use it. iPhone also can still use it. But iPhone is not good enough, but the iPad still. Now, so I hope I explain every single row. You should be able to understand what's going on there. Is that clear? Any question before we go to the next slide? Okay. Next line, I think is a little bit more interesting. The next function we learn is called filter. Okay. Filter is try to select columns because in general, the data has a lot of columns. So filter is to tell them how many columns you want. Okay. And what you do is to give a list. And to give a list, you have to use the square bracket. Okay? It's a list of stuff. Okay, you have filter, and I have the bracket because this is the function, and I give list of stuff. It has to be surrounded by square bracket. Okay, and this give me a list of stuff to get out. Okay, these are column names because the hotel IDs. If you remember this, hotel ID are all this, right? I get which there, right? I try to get the name there. Okay. So let me run this code quickly. And once you do it, you will see the thing is much simplified. So let me copy and paste because I guess there's no point to type. So I don't think I need this one. Then, okay. So you can see I have the original data. I filter it and I put it back to the original one. So I replace the old one. So the no one doesn't exist anymore. But if you don't like this, you can give a new name here. If you don't want to replace it, you can give a new name, say DF1 or DF new, then you give a new one. But if I do this, means that I take out this and I replace the thing, so I have a smart use of a memory. So if your memory is limited, this is the way you do. Okay, so just filter this and save it in the word thing, and this thing becomes much smaller. So let me run this, then you will see what's going on here. So once you run, you can see I only left this column that I picked. Okay, so is that okay? But this one is much smaller already. Okay, to convince you, you can look at the variable here. It's not showing you, but it should be much smaller than this one. Okay, it's filtered already. So I hope it's clear. There's several functions we learned right now. Just to recap, first, the important keyword import is to load a library, load a function there. You can imagine there's the iPhone there. I load an app to run things. Okay, the app has very useful function is to read the CSV. Okay, the data there, and once of that, there's a function get the first few rows, and also the filter is to filter to get the columns that you need to get. Okay, is that clear? Okay, good. So this is the outcome. Okay, it's there. Now, maybe I will skip this slide. This slide just basically say how you can use the load the function directly. So if you do this, I can show you, but very quickly. So if you do this, say suppose the first one, if you do this, suppose I run this one quickly. So if I do this and I run it, you ask me to choose a file. So whenever I choose a file, then they will upload. So this might be easier. Okay, if your file is in your system, or if you don't like, then you can also, there's a file here, you can drag and drop to here as well. But I'm not going to do a complicated thing, but just telling you that there are many ways to do it. Okay, so now the next is now you understand how to import the data through the Python, and we have to talk about one thing very important is data quality. I think your IT manager, you know very well that data, a lot of raw form are rubbish. You have to clean it up before you can be used, right? And also even the data is nicely looking, and have to make sure that the data is good, right? Because we know the common phrase giggle, right? Garbage in, garbage out, right? So if you do the bad thing, it's not going to work. So there is something that you know how to assess data quality, look at this content, validity, reliability, comparability, coverage, and bias selection. I think all these everyone would find it intuitive, so I'm not going to go to every single line, but I think a lot of things is have to be careful is whether coverage is very important, whether cover everything you want, and whether there's an unbiased selection, whether the data when missing is actually missing by random or people don't want to tell you, right? So in the survey we do in the class, right? Some people don't want to say things. If they don't want to say, it's because for some special reason, either they have too super smart to say, right? Then it's not at random. So the data has some issue there. But I think one of the famous case, I guess, is people would say is in the 1940s or 30s, I forgot, is a presidential election where they do a telephone pool. So they call people and see whether you support candidate A or candidate B. And I think they do more than 100,000 call. I think the largest call so far in history. And figure out that the data said a majority people support candidate A. Okay, but turn out that B won. What's the reason? The reason is in 1930s, not everyone have a telephone. Right? Those with telephone are richer, right? And the poor people, which majority, actually support the other candidate. So it's really, even though data size is big, doesn't mean anything if your data in the beginning is biased, right? So if you rely on internet survey, for example, it's IT manager, right? It's very tempting to rely on internet. But do know that, say, old people don't use internet, right? So, or less likely to use internet, right? So you have to be careful where you get the data. But anyway, just some side note there. So one thing, of course, you guys are manager must be very good at this is how to document your data. Very often people have very bad practice to document data. So please make sure that you collect data very well document where you get it, how to explain your variable, especially you work in teams for your projects. Make sure that your teammate knows where you get the data, how to clean the data. It's very important. Of course, I probably is oversaying for the manager because I think you guys are very organized. Okay, unlike me, I'm very unorganized. If you go to my room, you see crazy thing. But but anyway, you guys are better than I do. So to collect data, since you're IT manager, probably you know you can have a lot of APIs that collect data directly, also the REST scraping, and also the data from government or data from survey. So this is how we collect data as well. And there's issue of sampling, right? Because we're never able to collect everything, so we rely on sample. So for the data quality to be good, your data should be representative. Otherwise, as I said, in the telephone case, right? Not everyone uses telephone who can vote. So you have some problem there. So that's why you always have to check several things. It is called benchmarking. So once your data, you should check summary statistics, check the mean, check the variance, check everything, which we'll talk about after the break, hopefully, today. Then you will compare things. Okay. So that would be the thing we want to do. Okay. We talk about what we can check, but the benchmarking is very important. And in our model, we always assume random sample, okay? But of course, in all your data is not. So you have to figure out some way to adjust it, but that is way beyond the scope of a class, okay? But one thing you can think of is if you know what's going on in the population, you can adjust, okay? For example, when you talk about election pool, right? And in the past, it has been in USA, there are more Democrat than Republican. Okay, so usually Democrat has 5% more, but when you collect data, very often you get half and half. Okay, so you have to weight your sample in a way that you give more weight to Democrat than Republican, in order to balance the data. So what does that mean in IT? Say suppose you are doing IT company selling products, okay, and say for example your customer have more female than male, say for example, you may be selling some fashion product. But if you go to internet, you collect data, very often you have more male than female. Then you have to rebalance your data such that your data representative have more female, you have way female more than male in order for the data to be valid. Okay, I hope this makes sense, but how to do it is beyond the scope of our class. I'm sorry about that, but there's limited thing we can do, right? But this is the thing that you should do. You can think, oh, this already in the data. Oh, actually, more than there's 10 million people being asked. Turn out to be he's going to be win, but it's not. As I said, because of the ask a telephone, not going to work. Okay. So the question now is, go back to our hotel data. Okay, the data is coming from web. Okay, it's very good quality, but it doesn't cover everything, right? Because it comes from booking.com, right? Some hotel are not listed, right? So it's not comprehensive. Okay, you may also want to check every single hotel as well to get it, right? So there's a lot of something missing there. Okay, so that is a problem there. So there are other data, which is very fun. It's called the Billion Prize Project. Actually, try to collect a lot of data around the world, both online and offline. So you can check the data there if you're fun. Then the question is it going to be some missing data? For sure, they do, because even they check everything there, they can't check every single moment, right? If it's even you send the guy to the supermarket in the morning, you miss the sales in the afternoon, right? You can't check every single moment, right? And also different retailer may be slightly different package, slightly different way to do it. So there's some issue here, the missing data. Regardless of this, they spend a lot of money, there's still some missing thing. Okay, as I said, right? So they do the online version, offline, they have people to go there. Okay, and there's also manager making sure, but still they spend a lot of money. It's not sure you get everything right. Okay, and the other one, we'll talk about how to analyze this data very soon. But another set of data is called, we will talk about this after the break, is management quality data. Okay, this is a global survey on the firms and try to see how the management quality across different countries and across different firm size and management practice. Okay, we'll work on this very soon. Okay, how do they do that? This data, the data has huge number of firms, 10,000 firms. They do offline and phone interview, and they send MBA student, okay, to do the interview. They send MBA student to interview the firms, and they go to the site and ask manager that a lot. But of course, a lot of things can go wrong. You have to think about what can go wrong. Okay, but I'm not going to talk about that. If you are curious about the details, you can check the textbook there, because our slide basically follow the textbook. Okay, but if you want to take a look, but otherwise you can forget about it. So what is big data? Okay, do you know what big data? I haven't talked about big data. Do you know what big data is? No, I have the definition here, but this is not the definition people use, right? What's big data? You know, anybody want to attempt what's big data? Big data. Are you having big data? What's big data? No idea? Every day talk about big data. I think it's a famous quotation. May not be particularly appropriate, but that's what they said. Big data is just like sex. Everybody knows it, but it's hard to describe it. It's hard to define formally. Not my quotation, it's someone quotes it. But you can check it out. You can mean there's a famous statistician. Okay, it's not my quotation. Okay, even everyone. Okay. So the quote is like this. Okay, forgot. They said big data is. Oh yeah, they said big data is like sex. Everybody talks about it, but not everybody knows about what it is. Something like that. I forgot. So how to define it? So it's about 4 V's. It's volume, okay, and which means that is more than, I think volume means that it's at least 1 terabyte above, okay, and velocity means that they keep coming. So that's IT data is always like this, okay, and variety, you can become more than the standard number of text, video, or many maps, okay, and also fairly accurate. So that is called the big data. Okay, I mean this is sometimes 3 V's. I think now they're 4 V. Okay, so that's the definition in the academics. Okay, the practitioner always talk about big data, but they can't really define it. Okay, but do remind you, as the textbook said, big data doesn't mean your sample is representative. Okay, so just garbage in, garbage out. Okay, And I think there's an interesting quotation from Charles Babbage, who invented the first machine of calculation. I think he invented difference machine. So very funny. He was being asked, if you put in the machine the wrong figure, right answer comes out. Okay, in the 80s, right? So he said he don't can understand why the people are so stupid, right? If you put the wrong answer, why you expect wrong data, why you expect right thing to come out? Okay? So from now on, we assume the data we do is the right thing. It's your job to make sure it's right. So hopefully when you collect your data, when you do the project, the data quality is for you to clean, to adjust. Okay, we assume we're not going to talk about that, but the rebalancing is very important as well. Okay, we talk about that. So, any question? We've done chapter 1 before we proceed to chapter 2. Okay, so if not, I guess everybody tired. So I guess it's a good time to have a break as well. And let me start with the break and almost roll. And I will try to get an idea of how well you're doing. And you can tell me what the question is, and then you can tell me whether it should go faster or go slower. Okay, 15 minutes break. We will resume at 8:30. So you can help me to fill in, and then I know how well you're doing and how fast I should go. Okay. Okay, then we should resume. So one part I want to clarify because several people asked me what is this sharp sign there? The sharp sign, why is it here? Means the words after that is not read by the machine, so it's just a comment. So I should have said that you should extensively comment your code so that you know what's going on, and that's I will ask you to do so also in your assignment. You're expected to comment your code, explain to me what's going on for each line, or not at least some of the line, right? As the main line, so you will be something there. Okay. These days, AI is very good at doing this, but of course, you should do it by yourself. Okay. So there's another question in the break is saying that what might be the exams and what might the project looks like. So I let you see the exam that I do for the full-time course. It will look very similar as this one. The first page with name and ID, but will be something like this. Will be some multiple choice question. Oh, this is undergraduate level. Come on. No, I will put the past paper later in the semester because the reason I don't put it because this year the material is different, so I put a sample paper there, not the same, not exactly the same. So I'll put this kind of problem, right? So asking you calculate the mean, the variance, the standard thing, right? And some question like this, and do some calculation. Okay, very simple calculation. It's open book, don't worry, right? And some multiple choice, right? And then after that, I will ask this kind of style. I give the Python code, and I give the output. Okay. What you need to do is try to answer the question based on the code and the output. Can you read from the output to understand the Python output to answer the question? Just along this way. So you are not expected to do any coding in the exam because you just do pencil and paper. All the coding is in your assignment. So exam, there's no need to do coding. But of course, in some sense, you're doing coding because you understand what's going on. This is a question, and this is the output. And also another style, another regression, and there's a Lyso regression. This is a machine learning thing, right? And there's some regression tree. So this is what I asked in the past. In the exam, it's open book exam, so it's not something too terrible, I guess. And I can give you what kind of the report that I'm getting in the past few years. I'll give you more detail later, but this example report you will see. And I think when I teach the master class, I have the I think did I do that? Let me see. I think I have even more stricter page limit. It seems to me what I impose is everyone can only write one page. So maybe I should also impose for this class as well. So I figure I'll tell you whether you can allow to write 2 page or 1 page for each member. So 4 person, I only allow 4 pages. So what they do is say I maybe take this example. This is better. Later I'll upload the sample to the Blackboard. So this is trying to understand, say for this example, understand the songs, say Spotify, how the download pattern, and how the consumer, right? So basically, this is standard report, and they ask this kind of research question, and they look at data of popular songs, what kind of genie they have, right? And they do hypothesis, run a standard regression, and do some LISO, do some machine learning, and run the things, and this is what they have. Okay, so it's not something too complicated. And the other one is looking at, say, how, 4 page, right? How life expectancy determined by which factor using WHO data, run a standard regression, linear regression, LISO, machine learning, and then just basically run the thing. Yes. I can't recall, and even I know I can't tell you. But I would say these are the grade B+ or above for this. But exactly what I can't actually recall because and if I know I can't tell you anyway. So even if I know, so sorry about that. But say somewhat like this also, people support this, say factor affecting salaries IT industry. So they collect data and run ORS, and this is the type of thing, and they figure out the regression like this, depend on the work year, experience level, what kind of employment, what kind of job, whether you can remote, company size. So here is interesting. The larger the company, they pay less. So don't work in a big firm, right? So that is that is the paper they give me. I think that's very funny because I don't know what grade I give, but I think it's funny enough to give him a good grade. So that is, well, remember, these are full-time students. They haven't entered in the job market. But now you know better than they do, right? But anyway, so that is kind of the report I'm expecting. So I guess since you guys are very busy, so I probably just 1 page per person is the maximum. But of course, you can tell me whether you want more, because actually it's more difficult to write 1 page than 2 pages because you have to condense your thing, right? So I don't know whether you want, you can tell me, but I figured that out. But so that would be the thing. So let me see you reply and see the result. Can we skip more technical steps? Do I do technical steps? What do you mean? Is it any technical step there? I don't know. Can we end a bit early today? Go. The answer is I can't, because if I do, then I will be punished, because they send an email that I have to end on time and go off on time. So, but let's see what happened. Okay, so you can see I have someone who said end class on time. For sure, I'm not over time. Must be on time. So whether I can end any earlier is another issue, but I will be on time, so don't worry. Because everyone want to go home anyway, right? So I don't have incentive to keep you everyone. How to deal with bad data? Collect better data. That's what we do. And also you clean the thing, you clean the data. That's very important. You select the right thing. So sometimes if you drop the data, all right, drop some column, if the column is incomplete, you have to drop it. Okay, that's often happen. So more example there. I think we have enough example, but I try to see if more example we can do. I think we already example. Can we have shorter break and earn earlier? Yeah, maybe possible. That is possible. But let's see what we can do. So that's why we do all the technical step there. With try to be faster. Okay. Oh, waiting says she's waiting for a man. Okay. So far so good. I want to end earlier. I told you if I end earlier, I have trouble. So I really can't end earlier unless there's nothing. There's no reason I can't end. There's no way I can. Sorry about that. Actually, I want to end earlier, right? I mean, I don't have intention to delay, but you guys pay a lot of tuition, so you have to be worth of it, right? Make sure quality right. Bias everywhere because less like Texas, right? Yeah, not soon. I think you're doing okay. Yeah, that is true. Well, why you remember just one phrase? My one key point. Come on, that's not one key point. Let's just say very small part of that, right? So the speed is okay. So it seems I can speed up a little bit. But I guess no. Okay. You can follow, but only the first class, right? Because some of you already saying the lecture 6 is very difficult. Every people can be mean. Yeah, that's true. Tomorrow I need to buy a new laptop. Yeah, please do. Try to further in some key concept. Okay. Could be faster. Okay. I'm tired. Would two people with no coding background get good grade? Yeah, I don't think we need a very good, very complicated coding, because what you'll be doing for the coding is to take my code and apply to your case. There's no need to write anything new from a class. Just follow the code and apply to data set, and you're done. Okay, in terms of coding. Okay, so that's not. I think it's yes the answer. I heard big data is dead. Not that big data is surviving. These days are getting more and more big data because everything is being collected. Yeah, I will put the requirement as soon as possible. Okay. Because I'm still thinking whether you want 1 page or 2 page, but I will also share the sample that there. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So as you recommend and suggest, I will go a little bit faster as required. Okay. Preparing data for analysis. Okay. So there are different types of data. And nominal is just a name. Okay. We just say how do I go to school? By bus, by taxi, by car, by walk, right? And ordinal data is very often used in website, right? You go to the Taobao and Tmall, and then you rate the seller is from 0 to 5, or the Uber, right? 0 to 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is order, right? Why is order? Because 3-star and 4-star, the difference is not the same as 4 and 5. You just 5 better than 4, 4 better than 3. But difference between stars are not the same. Right? Just like the hotel, right? 4-star hotel better than 3-star, 5 better than 4. But difference between 3 and 4 is not the same as 4 and 5. Okay. And that data is called interval data or ratio data. And interval data means the difference would matter, right? Just like temperature, right? 36 and 37 and 38, the difference the same. Okay. And the ratio data is 0 doesn't matter. So the simplest example will be temperature. If in degrees Celsius, 0 will make sense. But in Fahrenheit, 0 doesn't make sense. Okay, so that is the idea. Why we talk about that? Later you will see when we apply concept in statistics, have to be careful. For example, when order matter or just name, when you calculate mean, calculate average, impose on order data is wrong. Because mean is calculating, adding things and divide, where the distance you can add and subtract. That means that applying, usually you see the marketplace, you calculate average star, is wrong thing, because average doesn't mean meaningful thing. When you do that, you should do median. same as this one. If you apply median or mean to this one, it's completely wrong. Must be applying mode, right? Most frequent one. So that's why we distinguish different kind of data. And also when you learn machine learning other class, you have to know what kind of data it is, and then you imply a different type of solution, right? So I'm not going to go into detail here. So what you're going to do is to clean the data. Once the data, you have to clean it, and that is part of the problem of how to get away bad data. Okay, some of you ask. Okay, so first thing is you have to understand the data, where to download it and clean that up, and link them out, and then you have to clean the data. Okay, that's what we do. We'll do the rest of today. We're going to show you how to do this thing in Python. Okay. So in Python, one of the most common way is called tidy data approach. Of course, this is not the only one way, but this is the usual way that people think that is a nice way to handle. And is everything you can imagine is table form. Every row is observation, and every variable is a column. Okay, and each type of observation forms a table. What does that mean? It means that if the data collect from, say, in Hong Kong Island with one table, a table collect from new territories another table. Okay, if you do it this way, or things in Hong Kong will be in one table, things in Shenzhen another table, things in Shanghai another table, so on and so forth. So separate things. And most important is each observation of unique ID. So each row will have identified, say, customer identification or shop ID or whatever. But in your web IT data, you have the user ID, right? If you log in or not, then you have to give the ID to that one. So each observation will have a unique one. So that's important. Okay. So let's look at the data again. We have this Hotel Vienna, which we have already seen it. Okay. You can see here, the first very column is hotel ID, which will tell you which hotel is doing, and this is very important, have a unique one. Okay. Now go back to this slide. Not this one. Yes. And this is already, we have seen this already, so we're not going to repeat that. And now we instead of looking at so much, we just filter this one. Okay. Let me copy it. Okay, and run it again. No. That's the hotel ID. Okay. So to make sure everything is all right, I copy this again up to down there. Or this make sure that I download the data from scratch. Okay, I download them from scratch. And I do the filter. Remember, filter is trying to get this column. Okay. And once I do that, I look at the first 5 rows. So I put n equal to 5 is the first 5 row, but if I don't want that, I want more, I put 10. So you will see this is the data, okay? This is the price and distance. Later you will see I try to handle them, but this is the thing. You can see the ID, each one is different. Okay. Now, the important thing is try to look at the data. Okay. The first thing you do is often is we call count value counts, and it's showing you a frequency table that count each type, how many of them they have. Okay. Let me run this code, then you will see what we have. So basically what we do is look at data and have a bracket, means that I look at this particular column and I just look at how many number do they have for each type. Okay, so let's run it. I copy this code and run it here. So you see that, okay? I slow down and go around to see what you're doing here is there are many types of accommodation. So we get some idea what's going on there is you have 260 hotel and so apartment and so on and so forth. Okay. So the value count is very useful to see what's going on in data. Okay. Of course, you can do it Excel quickly in filter, but this is how the filter is being used in Python. Of course, probably you know very well about how to do pivot tables, so on and so forth, but that's how you would do in Python. Is that okay? I assume zero knowledge, so I just start from scratch. Okay. Now, once you know this is the answer there. Okay. And now comes in the next thing is to select observation. Okay. We learn how to select variables by filter. Now we want to only select observation because we've seen from the data we're going to on a holiday. Probably we don't want to go to a hostel, not a vacation condo, not an apartment, but I want a hotel. Okay. In that case, I only focus on hotel. Go. So the story would be how to do is to select hotel. So what you're going to do is you would be looking at, forget about this, looking at this line first. You'll be looking at the column, looking at the hotel. Okay. That's why it's equal. It's checking each observation of each row. Is this a hotel? If yes, there's 1. If no, it will be 0. So this will give you a bunch of 0 and 1 each row. So if first row is hotel, then give 1. Second row is hotel, is also 1. If third row is not hotel, give 0. So and so forth. It's a bunch of 1 and 0. And then this LOC is trying to tell me which row and column you get. Okay. So at the end of the day, once you do this, you keep only hotel. So this is selecting observations. Okay. And once I select observation, I want to show them. I want to show this thing. Look at the first 5 rows. Okay. So maybe I just do this first, then you can see what's going on there. So suppose I do this, okay? I do this, okay? Once I do this, suppose I run this again, then you will see what's going on. Okay, it's good to run this again. Once I run this, you can see I don't have hotel. I don't have hotel left. There's no more non-hotel. Is that clear what I'm doing? This is only keep the hotel. Okay. And then once I finish it, then I want to look at the data again. Again, I look at first 5 rows, but for some fun reason, I want to look at more, 15 say. Okay. So this will give me the data only on hotels. Is that clear? I just stay for 1 minute to see if any question you might have. I know I'm slow in this class. Don't worry. If you tell me it's slow again, then I will speed up. I can speed up as fast as you want, or I can be slow as you want. But we're trying to leave nobody behind. Okay. For that reason, if you find it too easy, then I'm so sorry about that. Is there any question? It's just try to get, you tell me which is 1, you get that row. So tell me which row is hotel, then you get it. Because that function is going to tell me 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0. It's a logical test. Any question? Any further question? Okay. If no, then I assume everyone's okay. So the next thing to talk about data is very often when you look at the data set we have, it's not like this nice type. Okay. And even this nice type stored in this way is not good for analysis. Okay. So what I meant is very often, okay, the data is in the long format, which I'll define very soon. And this is usually how the data is stored in database. Okay. And when we do analysis, we want it to be in Y format. Okay, so we need to know how to switch and swap between the two. Okay, we will show you what the long and Y is, but long format is, for example, is each observation per unit of time. So is, say, you have an income data for this year is a run row, another another observation for another year will be on the row. Okay, but usually when we do analysis, you want the same guy have over the year on different columns instead of in different row. Okay, then maybe I make it more explicit. Maybe I give you example very soon, so don't worry. You will see this. Okay, the Y format is for each guy, each column represent observation each year. Okay, instead of long format will be this guy this year is one line, this guy another year another line. But you will be soon very clear what's going on. Okay, so let's do an example. It's using the immunization from the UN. Okay, so this database will tell you at what year, which country, how many people got vaccine with their GDP. Okay, it's from that data. So what we're going to do, again, I think from now, you feel comfortable about this code. The first line, import pandas as nickname PD. A comment, what this is to download the URL from this database. Panda, you read the CSV file from this location, store as DF. Next is, based on this, you have many columns. So I just pick up the country name, year, immunization rate, and GDP per capita. Okay, save it there, and I show the data. Is that clear what's going on here? I hope now you should be fairly comfortable with this code. Even though probably the first time you touch Python, I hope now you would be fairly comfortable with that. Okay. Of course, for some of you, I'm too fast. So some of you, I'm too slow. But at least I hope that's not too bad. So it'll be like this, like this. So this is the code I'm going to run. Okay. And I hope from now it'll be clear. Okay. So this is data I get, right? And this is the data that come from maybe a bit longer, maybe n equal to 15. See if they give him better result. So still not, but anyway, so this is the data set we have. Okay. So each year you get a data. So if you go further in the data, you will see Argentina appear again in 1999 and so on and so forth. So this is a long format data. But this data usually is the data you come from the database. But this data is not good for analysis. Later you will see. Okay. So how we do is you want to change to Y format. Okay. Which means that I want an observation, a country, and the column will be data for each year. Okay. So how to do it? It will involve very complicated programming, but don't worry, we just copy and paste and that's it. Okay. But we see what's going on, at least, right? What's going on. First, what you do is you have to set index for multiple column, which in this case is country and year, okay, to be the thing, and to convert it to Y table, and you would rename the column name. Okay. Actually, the first two will be done, but last one is cosmetic. But let you see what's going on there. Okay. The first step is instead of the country name is the index, but use country year as the joint column index. Okay. And once you do this, actually nothing will happen. But once you do it, you unstack it, then you restack everything in the nice form. But let me show you. So this is a little bit complicated to understand. But let me show you the result, and you probably have some idea what's going on. So let me delete that. Okay. So step 1, step 2, and step 3. So let's see what you see. So you can see what's going on here is I would be looking at country, and the result by year would be unstacked, means that they distributed over for each variable. So that is what I see, right? Immunization rate will be for each year. GDP will also by year. Okay, so that's called the Y format, right? Because every row is a country. Okay, before is every row, right, is each country and year. I want the year to be in each column. So I want immunization in 1998, 1990s, 1999, so on and so forth. And same for the GDP. Okay? And if you learn later, this is very convenient when you do comparison, when you run regression or the analysis from our data. Usually we have to require this form. Okay, and from a database, it's always this one. Okay? So we remember the code is to tell the data that your data is indexed by country and year. That's what you're doing. That's what I'm doing in the first line of the code. And I don't want the year become the index. I unstack it. I spread out the data. That's how what you get. Okay. And this still doesn't look very nice because this is what we call the multi-layer index. So that's why in order to make it look nicer, easier to handle, we would use something very little bit complicated. We would call the columns to give the names, and x0 plus this x0 is actually asking for emulation and GDP x0. X1 are this one, okay? Because this is x0 and this is x1. And this is in the column names, okay? Because the column names actually have two-level multi-index, so because 0 and the 1. So basically just trying to recall the names. If you don't understand, it's okay. Because this is a very complicated thing. It's called, in the Python, it's called list comprehension. Actually, just for everything in the DF column, you combine them together. But I guess you don't have to understand the list comprehension at the moment. So if you don't get it, just copy and paste, because this line doesn't change anyway, no matter what you do. So if you don't get it, it's okay not to get it. Okay, but let's see the outcome. And don't worry, you don't need to understand every single code, right? Anyway, you know what they're doing, that's fine. So once you do that, you will see the result will be like this, right? So it's create a new name there. Okay, so that's what it's doing. Okay, so that is changing from the long format to the Y format, because the data you collect from the website is almost always long format. And when you do analysis, as always, this is much easier. Okay, so this is the first thing you do. And is that okay? And this is standard operation in all the data management, long and Y and long. You can go back and forth. Okay, but I don't think you need to go back because you are not data manager anyway, right? Down data, you just convert that and do analysis, and that's it. Okay, of course, there are ways to go back. Okay, but I'm not going to talk about those. Is that okay? Is that okay? Is that okay for this one? Okay. So the next is what we call relational database. It's because very often you're not done with just one data table. You have many tables. You merge together and do things, right? So that is what we do, right? You would probably merging the customer from today's data and tomorrow's data, right? Or merging things, right? And data can be related by ID, right? That's what we do, right? In the case, it's hotel ID, right? And in our thing, is called customer ID, whatever, user ID, right? That's why in China, the Chinese website is very powerful, right? Because everyone is recognized by the real name, but in their ID, right? So you can connect very easily, right? But in other places in the world, it's not that easy because people can log in without the username, right? In China, much easier to build this kind of thing. But so now what we do is to do the last example. We will work out all the code there. We have 30 pages of code. I think it's sufficient time. So we will do the data here. So what data here is, I hope people still like football these days in the UK. So we were looking at the English Premiership over 10 years data. Okay, at the end we want to see who is the best football manager based on data. We are merging data from three database, from games, data, teams, data manager data. Okay, so that is what we're going to do. And the data actually coming from the source is coming from the football.data code. Yeah. So so now let's start data. Maybe I read this again. Hopefully you will be fine. Okay. The first one, I know our friend already, pandas. I think everybody like panda this day, right? Pandas. And the URL, and then you read the URL using a Python panda function and put in the data frame. I think we now see so many times. I think it should be fine. Okay. And now we have a new function called sort value. Sort value is the same as Excel sort. You just put the things in alphabetical order. Okay. And then you read the head. So let me run this one. Hopefully now you will be fairly comfortable with the code we have right now. Okay. So maybe I put n to be 15 to be to show you why it's sorted. So you can see it's sorted. So that's why it starts with Arsenal, right? Because start A, and then everything is A, right? And if you don't have that, let me show you. If you don't have that, what you will see. Okay. Let me show you the other case. If you don't have the short one, what do you get? So you start from different name there. Okay. By sorting, I will just sort according to which home team is doing. Okay. So just I slowly telling you how to do things, right? I hope this is incremental approach is better rather than I spread short list of function and they figure that out. So I do things slowly. Okay, so this what we do is sorting out. So the first question is it a nice form? It's a tidy table. The answer is yes, because each row is a game. Okay, and how to identify a game in this table is very simple. Is the date, right? And which home team is which is the away team. It's a unique. Okay, 3 columns will tell never repeat, right? It can't be same day they play again, right? So you need 3 things to identify the data. Okay, is that okay? So the first data set. And second one, the same data set, but instead of the games level, it's a teams level. Okay, so let's see the data. Okay, the same data, but it's a team data. Okay. Let me copy this and run it. So again, I want maybe 10 more. 15.1. Okay. So you will see, okay, almost the same data, but you have based on the team. Okay. And look at the opponent. It's not home anymore, but it's based on each team. Essentially the same data, but in different structure. Okay. And what do we learn from that? Look at data here. Maybe look at the data as well. Look at this column. Okay. And this column, the first and the third one, are actually the same thing. Right? One is Newcastle versus Liverpool, and the other one is Newcastle. So you be careful. In this data, you have duplication. Okay, you have to be very careful when you handle this one, right? Because you will have repetition. Okay. So then in this one, okay, as I said, same game appears twice, okay, and each game in separate row. ID, stage, and team. Okay. Do note that opponent team is not there. Okay. So because this is how I identify that. Is that okay? Now we look at the last data set because we want to look at the good manager from the football, most successful manager. So we look at how the manager data looks like. Okay. So this will be the data set. It's from this website. You download now. It's very clear. Our old friend Pandas. We give the URL and load this and look at the data. Okay. I think I repeat so many times. I'm not going to repeat next time. Okay. I hope now you're comfortable with this Python, comfortable with this Python Panda. Okay. And how we download thing. Okay. It's repeating myself too much, but I hope it's clear. So here you can see the data is the manager ID, the manager name, the club, whether that caretaker means they are formal manager or not formal manager, and from when to when, okay, which national, which team, which league, right? So this is the data we have. Okay. And this is the data. Okay. And how to link the data, okay? We don't have the time to talk about that too much, but you can look at the Python textbook more. I don't think we do anything about that. We just skip that part because the actual textbook will skip this. There are many ways to match, okay? If your two table, okay, is exactly one-to-one match, okay? Each entry from one table will match the other one is one-to-one match. Okay? In that case, is each game will be matched to football team and stadium is one-to-one match. But sometimes you would be M-to-1 match or 1-to-M match. It's because each team will have many players, right? When you match the team with player data, then you have one-to-many match, right? And there will be many-to-many match. This applies to a case because football team and managers are overriding, right? Because one manager can go to this team for this period, go to that team for that period, right? And so that means that there will be a very complicated merge. And how to merge them? I don't think I talk about this today. I think we will talk about this in next set of slides to talk about how to merge data set. Okay, they will be using a joint function, but today, because of the time, we merge for you. Okay, just like cooking class, right? Because time just there. Okay, we have the data now merge. Very nice one. So merge already. So this is the merge file. We'll use this merge file directly. Okay. So what we do, again, I'm not going to explain this because I think everyone knows all this code very well. So I just copy and paste. Actually, I don't need the first line because you only need this line once and for all. Usually, just to say the convention is you put this thing at the top of your code and forget about it. Okay? You don't have to load it every time. Okay, just like you install the app from the App Store, once you do it, you don't have to do it anymore. Okay, let me just don't do that anymore because it's just too tedious. Okay. You can see I download the data. This data is merged data, right? It involves the days, team, who is the winning, who is the manager, from when to when. So it's very nice data. So we'll use this data to do our analysis. Okay. So the data. So the first thing is we try to group the data, okay, by looking at because this is the level we want to look at. Look at the team, look at the manager, ID, and the manager name, because we want to calculate for each team and manager how they perform. Okay, so that's why we do the group by, we group them together. Okay, let's run this code and you will see what's going on there. Okay, let's group them together and look at data again, and you see what are we doing there. Okay, it's not copying. Control C, Control V, yes. Okay, so a group by. Okay, let's see what the group by do. So can you see anything? Do you see anything happening? Nothing, right? So but when we look at data, they will be looking at this, will be collect them together, team and manager ID. Okay. So what next we'll be doing is we want to do calculation within each group. Okay, it's at the group level we do calculation. Okay, what we're going to do, okay, is at the group level. Okay, it's called aggregate. It's a set of functions that you do some calculation. You can imagine actually this is same as pivot table. Okay, very similar to pivot table. We calculate, and what it's doing is I do some calculation based on group level. What I do is I create a new column. Okay, common to games. Okay, and I count the division. Okay, count the games. Okay, okay, because how many games they have, the counting. Okay, how many games they're playing. Okay, you can count any column, but division is easy to count. Okay, so let me show it the result. Okay, you just count for each team, each manager, how many games they play. You add them up, so that's what it's doing for this line there. Let me repeat, because you group them there. So at each group the level, you calculate, look at the first column, the division. Size is count how many of them. Okay. Here later you can change to average. You can do the standard deviation, that many ways you can do it. But size, just count how many number of them. Just counting how many number of games they play. So basically what you do is look at the team, you fix the team, fix the manager name, and look at fixing this. Oh, still someone coming in so late. Okay. And then you go to division, how many of them, right? I think we have some Hollywood policemen coming in, always come at the end when the bad guy are defeated, the policemen come. So once you do this, say you can see in this way, right? You collected the team, this manager name, how many games they play. Okay. So maybe I don't use n, maybe n equal to 20, then you have some more better idea. So this is the idea, right? Because we already group them in team, ID, and manager, right? So basically you just, the data is collected this way, you count how many of them. So don't worry if you don't fully follow the code, because just change the name when you do the things, right? There's nothing very special about the code there. And also we want to calculate the points they got, right? Because if in this football, if you win the game, you get 3 points. If you draw, you get 1. You lose, you got 0. So I want to get how many points they get, right? But at the end, I want to calculate the more game they play, the more point they can get, right? So I want to calculate average point per game. So the first thing I need to do is to calculate how many games they play, and then I calculate how many points they get, and then do the division. Then I'm done. Then I can figure out who is the best one. Okay. So now I calculate that, and I put in the new data set called points. Okay. And later I will merge the points and the games. Okay. So I will do some merging there. Okay. So now I do the points. So points will be, to remind you, it's just like for each game, the win is got 3, they lose, they got 0, then the draw is 1. So I will get this manager, their total point like this. Okay. So I have 2 data set here, right? One data set is each manager, how many games they play, and I have another data set with how many points they got. Okay. So in order to do calculation, I have to do one-to-one merge with this data set, right? Each row of here have to merge other row there. Okay. So I will do a merging, because otherwise I can't operate over 2 data sets. So here I show you how you merge 2 data sets together. Your 2 tables. I'm going to merge it. So we're going to do, as I said, there's a joint. Okay. You can games join points or points join game. Doesn't matter. Right? And this is called the data called win. Okay. You will see this combining 2 data sets. So let's see. I will do it is I combine them together to join. Okay. Because you already group it, so that's why they know how to join. Okay. If you didn't do the right thing, you didn't join nicely, but already they do it because you create this data set. So the idea you need, you can easily merge them. I stop 1 minute to see if any question. I hope it's not too slow or not too fast. Is that okay? Going for this one. Is there any question that I can help? Is that okay? Can you follow? Is that okay? Okay. I can see many of you can follow. Okay. Because I don't know whether it's still too fast or too slow. Okay. So that is the result there, right? Already the code is already show you the answer. So now, as I said, I want to calculate on average how many points they get per game, right? So what I do is this data win, I create a new column. That's how we do it. I could call a square bracket a win ratio. It's not in data, but I create a new column. How do you do that? The new column is defined as the difference between the ratio of one row over the other, right? So this is a way to create a new column, right? This Excel is very simple, right? Just write the formula and just drop, but it's the same thing, right? Because that's what you do, right? In Excel, we'll be saying that maybe B1 over A1, and then click and just drag it and you're done. Same here. Tell you that I have this column over this column. I create a new name for this column, and that's it. Okay. So there's nothing. If you know Excel, then it's something very simple. I hope everyone knows Excel in some sense, right? So this is the thing. And you can see he just divide this point to this, you get this one. Right? Divide this to this one. Just Excel thing, right? Nothing very deep here. Is that okay? Is that okay? What we have here. So now what we want is to find the best top 10 manager, right? That means that I want the ratio sort from high to low, right? So I sort them, but I don't want small ascending. I want descending, which means top is the best guy. So that's why I sort it, but ascending is false. If I say true, then it will be small to big. Okay, I sort it. Okay, and look at the top 10 guy. So that's what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is I sort it because I want to look at the top 10 manager, right? So I sort them. Remember this sort is sort them out, the Excel function. Okay. So I sort them out. You will see, okay, this guy win one game, but only play one game is the highest, but all the rest is like this. Okay, you saw them, top 10 guys. So basically, now it's almost done, right? Because we already know who's the best manager, right? Of course, you want to exclude this guy, but otherwise, this is the best manager you have here, right? So probably you also want to do a little bit more. For example, you want to take away the caretaker, which means that they have to win, they have to play more than 80 games, right? Hey, that's the 80 games doesn't count. 80 doesn't matter, just a random number. You can put 10 or 20, whatever you like, at least play 80 games. And these are top guys, and then you sort them again, right? And do the same. Okay. This is try to exclude manager that play very little games. Okay. This is a row I run. Once I run it, you will see the caretaker gone, and these are real champions, right? So nothing deep there. The only thing deep there is probably like this one. You're going to tell me that I only want to look at the data that is more than 18. Okay, so that is the way we filter. Okay. Now let's go to the very last one. Okay, and the very few set of slide, 4 minutes. I want to tell you how to draw a diagram. Do I have time? Maybe I will keep this to the next class I drawing. Okay. So I will later want to show you next class. I want to show you there's a package called Matplotlib. Okay. Able us to draw nice thing. Okay, we can talk. That's fine. But that would be the thing we want to talk next class. Okay. Although I can finish, but I don't want to rush because I promise you I will be on time. So I will draw the diagram. So the data cleaning, there are two things that make sure that the missing value taken care of, and make sure that everything the ID is right. There's no duplicate. Okay. And try to remove things that's irrelevant, right? That's very important. Okay. And for example, the data can be in this way, right? Manchester City can be right in different form, especially when you ask people to fill in the form, then often they have typo or different name that you have to be taken care of. Okay. So very important. There are many different ways to handle, but do remember that one good practice is not to use Excel to clean your data. Because Excel that you lose trace what you have done. Always use Python to clean data or any code. Otherwise, you know what you're doing. And don't touch the raw data. The raw data, you clean it, you save a new name, and so on and so forth. You document that. That's very important. Don't touch any raw data. Okay. And of course, if you want to be cheating, then of course you Excel. But if you want to be honest, don't do that. Okay. There's some tips. You should use README to save. Use raw file to keep the raw file. Keep the clean file in another folder. Okay. Use Python to separate. So that is the difference from the Excel, right? Excel is clean data, raw data, code all messed up. Okay. Of course, it's good because you don't want your boss know what you're doing, right? But it's not good for practice when you do programming. Okay. And lastly speaking, try to make sure that your file name is machine readable, also human readable. Okay, there's some ways to follow, but I'm not going to go to detail. Finally, 1 minute left. I want to say about the final comment is most of data scientists, in fact, follow 80-20 rule, which means that you spend 80% of time to clean that data, and 20% of time to do actual analysis, or actually they complain about the data quality. So I guess 1 minute earlier, I think it's okay. So I'll see you next week.
Hi, Professor, can you hear me?
Hi.
Hello? Can you actually hear me?
Hi, go on.
Hi. Yes, Professor, unfortunately,
Yes.
I'm working overtime today, and can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, please.
Yes, I'm working overtime today, so unfortunately, I can't attend the class
Oh,
offline. So I realized I can
okay,
attend the
okay.
online class on. Yeah, I'll be attend the next class for
Okay,
sure.
okay. No problem. See you next time. Don't worry about that. Okay.
Yes, thank
Don't
you.
worry. Okay, no problem. I see you. Bye bye, Lucas.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.